On a wet and rainy night in Hawaii, the Aztecs lose their first conference game of the season, and this one wasn't even close. Struggling to get anything going on offense, and with a young quarterback having his way with the defense, it adds up to a 38-6 loss. Hello and welcome to this post-game edition of Aztecs All In. I'm Louis Weiner along with Steve Perez. And this one, Steve, the Aztecs have to forget about fast and regroup with Boise State coming to town next week, huh?
Right. They are still in first place, but now they are sharing it with Boise State, and that makes the game coming up on Saturday looming all the much larger after this one, Louis.
Yeah, this one started off good, right? Owen Chambliss with a sack. You thought, oh, this is going to be great, and it just petered out from there. I think the rain was a big problem. Jaden Denegal had trouble doing much of anything, and the defense missing Chris Johnson and Tana Latuli, they just couldn't get their act together for whatever reasons.
Yeah, everybody, though, is playing in the same conditions, so the Rainbow Warriors came out ahead in this one because they dealt with it better. And you talk about trying to win the middle eight, that's the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 of the second. They couldn't win the first 30 minutes, Louis. It was not just in the air with that air raid offense, but on the ground. And together they teamed up to bash up a proud Aztecs defense. 24 first half points. Ouch.
Yeah, Coach Lewis on the post game on San Diego Sports 760. We'll hear from him shortly. He said Hawaii played with more passion tonight, and that showed. They really seemed excited to be there. And the Aztecs, I don't know, from middle of the first quarter on, it just seemed like they'd rather be somewhere else. 0 red zone plays for the Aztecs tonight. 2 of 14 on third downs. Jaden Denegal, 10 of 27, 132, 2 picks. They gave up a kickoff return for a touchdown and a pick 6. It just everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And of course, how does the game end, Steve? With a fumble at the very end.
Correct. At that point, it was academic, but yes, it was one of 2 fumbles by Aztec quarterbacks. So Micah Alejado, the redshirt freshman, is sensational, and this was the first quarterback the Aztecs went up against who was young, but played beyond his years. He made plays at every point in the game. He ran away from Aztec defenders and eluded. He got sacked a couple of times, but this for the Rainbow Warriors is being called on the islands the biggest game of the Timmy Chang era. And Hawaii felt going in that the Aztec secondary was untested with that air raid offense, and the receivers showed impressive depth that they have in that room. And not just the receivers position, Louis, but throughout the skill positions, Hawaii had 9 receivers on the night, and none more damaging than Jackson Harris, man. 3 touchdown catches on the night, all in the first half, and he racked up his 5th 100-yard plus game in a row. So unless you have any other receivers in the Mountain West who can match that, you have to count him as the best receiver in the conference at this point.
Yeah, 7 catches, 137 for him. This is the 4th straight game, I believe, where Hawaii has scored more than 30 points. They're on a roll. And the Aztecs losing to Hawaii, Steve, that means if the Aztecs and Hawaii both finished with 2 losses, Hawaii would jump the Aztecs because of that. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Thanks for jumping a note in the tiebreaker section, but that's fine. Yeah, you're correct. I got nothing more to lead off this thing that is sitting there in the middle of the yard and neither needs to get picked up and put in a little sack and then carried away, or the dog just scrapes a few pieces of grass over the top and runs away from it. So what do you say we hear from the coach and get going?
Okay, here's Coach Sean Lewis after the game, courtesy of San Diego Sports 760.
Yeah, I mean, obviously part of competing, right? There's 2 sides of the coin. We've done a great job finding ways to win in a lot of different ways. Tonight, I didn't do a good enough job of making sure that the guys were prepared to show up in all 3 phases and execute to our level. Coach Timmy Chang and his staff did an unbelievable job of having their guys ready to go. They started quickly. The game got away from us a little bit there early. We weren't able to quite respond the way that we have in the past. So hard lesson for us to learn, but a lesson nonetheless that will force our growth and great opportunity as we continue to go forward, controlling our own destiny, and a big one at home next week. Yeah, I mean, obviously Chris is a dynamic player. His unavailability was present. Obviously, not having Tano for the first time and his leadership in the middle was a big piece of it. But, there's going to be guys that need to step up. And we knew that as we've gone through. Guys have been working very, very diligently, very hard. And I know in the future, guys will get opportunities to continue to make plays. And I know they'll step up and make those plays. And it's our job as a staff to make sure we're putting our guys in the best position to be successful so that they can go execute at a really high level. I mean, obviously, a bunch of different factors. I think a lot of the things that you rattled off, right, are things that you can't control, right? And so we want to pour into the things that we can control. And I thought, from a logistical standpoint, we handled the time of travel and all the things that we are able to do. I mean, the fact of the matter is the game is where it is. So whether it was a 6-hour flight, I mean, it's been in situations before where I got to take 7 or 8 hour bus rides to go play a game, right? And that's what you do. And you put the ball down, you have a passion to play. And, again, obviously Hawaii had a little bit more passion than us tonight. And, that's disappointing to see because usually our guys are ready to roll, which, again, points back to me and, the messaging and my leadership through the course of the week to make sure that the guys are ready to go. I know they'll be good to go for another great home game coming up this week.
This game felt very reminiscent of that Washington State game, Lewis, earlier in the year. The Aztecs were riding high after a big win at home, and then they end up not showing up to that one. And Pullman, this one has the same feel. It was a team that on paper they should have played much better against, but instead looked like they just weren't ready to play and didn't belong on the same field. Let's get into more of how that all played out in the first half, shall we?
Steve, Hawaii wins the toss and elects to defer. So in a steady rain, the Aztecs get the ball first. Kickoff to Jordan Napier, short return to the 20. Aztecs started off with a lucky Sutton run, but nothing there, only gets a yard. Denegal back to pass on second down. Nobody open. He scampers away for a yard. And 3rd and 8, good pressure from Hawaii forces Denegal to throw it away. So a 3 and out for the Aztecs, and they punt the ball away. But the defense comes to play. 1st and 10 from their own 25. Micah Alejado back to pass, and in comes Owen Chambliss for a sack. Hawaii picks up 15 on second down, setting up a 3rd and 4. And then Alejado back to pass, and Deshaun McEwen jumps the route. Gets the interception. Aztecs in business. 1st and 10 at Hawaii's 25. But the offense off to a slow start. After a lucky Sutton gain for 2, Denegal keeps it on the zone read and is pushed out of bounds after losing a yard. So 3rd and 9 from the 24 of Hawaii. Sutton throws incomplete. The receiver caught the ball but caught it out of bounds. So Gabriel Placencia comes in for a 42-yard field goal, and the Aztecs lead 3-0. Hawaii's second drive starts off like the first one. Micah Alejado back to pass, and Owen Chambliss catapults in for a sack. After a 5-yard run, Hawaii looking at a 3rd and 17 from the 17, and the pass is incomplete. But Bryce Phillips called for unsportsmanlike conduct for taunting, and it went downhill from there for the Aztecs defense for the rest of the half. That gave Hawaii 1st and 10 from their own 35. After a 1-yard pass, a big chunk play, 31-yard pass to Brandon White. Then the next play, an 11-yard completion to White, and Hawaii is on the move. Hawaii 1st and 10 from the Aztecs 22. Landon Sims for 2, then a 10-yard pass to Cam Barfield. Barfield down to the 10. And then Alejandro finds Jackson Harris in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. 9-play, 75-yard drive in 4 minutes and 10 seconds. 7-3 Hawaii, spurred on by that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Aztecs' third possession, not much going on. An incomplete pass followed by a lucky Sutton 1-yard run. And on 3rd down, Jaden Denegal back to pass. He can't get away from Jackie Johnson III. He gets sacked, and the Aztecs forced to punt. It's a 59-yard punt, so Hawaii gets started back in their own territory, and they take advantage. After runs of 4 and 6, Alejado hits Jackson Harris along the sideline for 18 to the 49-yard line. Then after a 5-yard run and incompletion, and then an 8-yard Landon Sims run, Then Alejado hits Jackson Harris for a 34-yard touchdown wide open along the sideline. 14-3 Hawaii. That's a 7-play, 70-yard drive in 2:44. Aztecs offense trying to get something going, and they do. Jaden Denigal from their own 22 goes deep, hitting Donovan Brown for 45 yards. Aztecs in business at the Hawaii 33. 2 Sutton runs of 1 and 7 sets up 3rd and 5 from the 29. A screen pass to Donovan Brown gets just 3 as the first quarter comes to an end. Second quarter starts. Aztecs decide not to go for it on 4th and 2 in the rain. In comes Gabriel Placencia for a 43-yard field goal. It's good. 14-6 Hawaii, 5-play, 53-yard drive in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Hawaii, 2 incompletions to start their next drive, so the Aztecs trying to get the Rainbow Warriors off the field on 3rd and 10, but Alejado avoids the rush, rolling left, and finds Pofele Ashlock for a nice 16-yard completion to the 40. He barely gets his foot down, and after a 3-yard run, another big play. Cam Barfield goes left, rushes for 26 yards down to the Aztecs 20, and then Alejado, looking deep, hits Jackson for a 35-yard touchdown, his 3rd of the half. He already has 4 catches for 96 yards and 3 touchdowns. Aztecs get the ball back. More struggles on offense. An incomplete pass, a holding penalty, and 2 more incompletions means another punt. Hawaii takes over on their 25, and this drive looks like a repeat of their previous drives. Very efficient, just moving down the field. An 11-yard pass to Harris, who goes over 100 yards in the first half. It's the first time the Aztecs have given up over 100 yards to a receiver in the last 25 games. Then on 3rd and 1, Barfield gets a direct snap for 6 yards and a first down to the 46. Then on 2nd down, Alejado finds Blaze Kamoko for 19 down to the Aztecs 33. Then a pass to Barfield for 8 to the 25. Aztecs then force a 3rd and 1, but Alejado finds Tammy Uliata for 3. Then another big play for Hawaii. Brandon White with an end-around reverse for 13 yards to the 9, but the defense stiffens and the Aztecs force a 22-yard field goal by Kansei Matsuzawa. He's known as the Tokyo Toe, and it's good. His 22nd straight field goal, and it's 24-6. Can the Aztecs get something going with 4 minutes left in the first half? Nope. Sutton for 2, then Will Cianfrini with a 5-yard catch, his first of the year. But on 3rd and 3, Denigal back to pass. Nobody opens. He tries to run for the first down, ends up losing 2 yards. Aztecs punt again. Hawaii trying to score before the half, about 2 minutes left. Looks like the Aztecs hold on a 3rd and 9 pass to Jackson Harris, but a review gives him the first down at their own 35. But the Aztecs defense is finally able to force a punt after that, and they get the ball back with 1:12 left. They're starting to move the ball. 7 yards to Nathan Acevedo, 7-yard completion to Jordan Napier. And then the Aztecs' second best offensive play of the game, a 20-yard Lucky Sutton run gets the ball down to the 31. Then a first down pass incomplete to Ryan Wolfer, down by about the 20-yard line. A personal foul targeting call, but after review, the flag is picked up. So the Aztecs drive stalls. In comes Gabe Placencia for a 50-yard field goal try, but the holder has trouble handling the wet ball, and Gabe misses left, only his 3rd career miss, and the Aztecs go into halftime down 24-6. Some halftime stats, and they're ugly. Hawaii, 300 yards total offense to the Aztecs 90. Micah Alejado, 16 for 27 for 228. Jackson Harris, 6 catches for 116. Jaden Denigal, just 5 for 15 for 69 yards. Aztecs, just 90 yards of total offense. Lucky Sutton, 7 rushes for 31. Time of possession, 19 minutes for Hawaii, 11 for San Diego State. The Aztecs 0 for 7 on 3rd down, while Hawaii was 7 of 10.
All right, Aztecs took a couple body blows in that first half, and my big questions for the second half, Lewis, can the Aztecs stop the Bows on their opening possession, or will that mountain they seek to climb be even higher before they even get their hands on the ball. And once they do get their hands back on the football, can they be more efficient on offense? Can the offense sustain drives, keep Hawaii's air raid offense off the field, get some touchdowns instead of field goals, and give that wounded Aztecs defense some time to rest, regroup, and get a couple of stops? And honestly, at the half, Aztecs are down huge on the road. Can they just figure out a way to win the second half maybe? Forget about the scoreboard, find something to build on for the upcoming game against Boise State. Can't see myself doing much play-by-play in this half, Lewis, unless the Aztecs can figure out a way to get back into this one. Tough assignment, though, down so big in subtropical weather, wet conditions. But it's a new era in college football, and as always in this game, anything is possible. And instead, the Aztecs have a special teams breakdown, giving up a big return for a touchdown on the opening kickoff 11 seconds into the second half. It's Cam Barfield of Hawaii heading straight through the Aztecs coverage on the home sideline for 86 yards, and just like that, Aztecs down 31-6. Okay, ouch. Aztecs turn with the ball, and a big milestone on this drive. It's the Aztecs' first third down conversion of the game on 3rd and 4. Denegal completes to Napier for 13 yards to the Hawaii 29, but the drive ends with a questionable decision 2 plays later by Jaden Denegal. I don't know what he saw, but from the couch, it looked like a toss-up for grabs close to the end zone on 2nd and 2. The Bows' Kilanahe Mendiola Jensen looks camped out underneath it at the 2, returns it to the Hawaii 22. Aztecs get a stop after 4 downs, get the ball again on their own 14. After 10 plays, the drive stalls out after a holding call on Hawaii's 37. It's 4th and 14, and Aztecs line up to go for it. 6:25 in the quarter, and Denegal's pressured on the play, scrambles, and has to throw it away. Hawaii's next possession ends after 5 plays with a turnover on downs at the Aztec 42. Aztecs take over 3:13 in the quarter, and 4 plays later, the wheels come off. They go for it on 4th down and 3 on their own 44. Denegal, under pressure all night, tosses an out left, and the Bows' Elijah Palmer steps in front at the Hawaii's 47 and goes yard past the Aztecs on their side of the field. The pain is throbbing at this point, Lewis. It's 38-6. Hawaii all night. It goes like that into the 4th quarter, Lewis, and I don't know what they call it on the island when the chicken skin gets going because the night marchers are all around. It's dark, and all you want to do is get as far away as possible. But that's the sensation in this one at this point. Only suspense now is will the Aztecs offense get into the end zone against a team that last week surrendered 45 points against San Jose State. Instead, there's another turnover, 8:35 to play. Denegal just loses the handle on the ball in the backfield on a handoff. Christian Washington. Hawaii recovers at the Hawaii 39. And at that point for Hawaii, DeMarcus Davis is in at quarterback. Alejandro's night is done. Tidy one for him. 22 of 34, 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, the 1 INT. Hawaii's Jackson Harris, the big receiver on the night for Hawaii, 3 TDs. He caught 7 balls for 130 yards.
Steve, 38 points. That's the most points the Aztecs have given up all year, and scoring just 6 points. That's the fewest points they've scored all year, equaled to the game in Central Michigan when they won 6-3. Of course, they won that game with 6 points. Today, not even close. And, of course, we all talk about Gabe Placencia, who had another chance for a field goal, a 50-yarder, into the first half, which I talked about earlier, and the wet ball, wet snap. So, he even missed one. So not a good game at all for pretty much all facets of the Aztec football team.
Yep, pretty much. And, yeah, how much did the Aztecs defense miss the presence of Tana Lutuli, out now for the season? The team captain, the mainstay linebacker, obviously Biggie, but injuries are part of the game, so the Aztecs have to figure out a way to look beyond the loss of a team captain like that. I mean, they had the usual solid performance by someone like Owen Chambliss, who led the team with 13 total tackles, 11 solo. He had 2 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss. the defense spent a lot of time chasing Rainbow Warriors wide receivers all over the yard, and also mentioned that they give up some yards on the ground, 130 total yards amongst the assorted Rainbow Warrior running backs. So credit to the Hawaii fans, because there was a steady rain throughout the first half, and it's not the biggest place, that TC Ching complex on campus, but the fans showed up in ponchos. They showed up for their team, and the team responded with a very impressive performance in drizzling, then on to drenching rains. So I would give them a leg up if you're going head to head between the way the Aztec fans showed up for homecoming in beautiful weather in San Diego last Saturday, and the way they showed up in Manoa, where the campus is in Hawaii.
Yeah, hopefully they can get a crowd out next week at Snapdragon Stadium. Briefly, I talked about it in the recap. I wanted to get your opinion on this. Second possession for Hawaii. The Aztecs, looks like they had them stopped on third down, incomplete pass. And then Bryce Phillips, unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting, and Hawaii got the ball back and they went down and scored. And that seemed like a huge turning point to me, because if Hawaii punts, who knows what happens. I think the game really flipped on that penalty, Steve.
I don't know if you can put your finger on one play, but yeah, that was a momentum killer, and it's great to feel great about the job he did on the play, but then it's on to the next, because there's nothing worse than doing something that can actually hurt your team. Just feeling good about it. Hey, you made the play, move on. Did it really change the entire momentum of the entire football game? Who knows? But yeah,
it didn't help, right? It did not.
Well, here's the other thing. I want to mention, because in the past, in this long-standing rivalry between these two teams, Hawaii seems to bring a little bit extra when they're playing against the Aztecs, because there's plenty of island connections there. And after all, the two campuses more or less share the same ocean, and it was their last chance to match up against their rivals as members of the Mountain West, and they will remember this one. A memorable game for the home team in this one, that come away triumphant. And I'm reading from the what do they call it in Hawaii? The Coconut Wireless, that the way the schedule works out, Hawaii Rainbow Warriors will apparently finish, because of the way the schedule is, they've already played a bulk of it, that they will finish for certain with at least a tie for second place. So, as you mentioned earlier, that tiebreaker, if the Aztecs end up in the same boat, and there's that spot in the conference championship game, and because of the tiebreaker, Hawaii will go ahead.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. Aztecs win their final three. They are in the Mountain West Conference Championship game, and they actually would host it. So a lot of scenarios still to look at. But one thing we do know, Steve, is the talk of the college football playoff has gone by the wayside, as has any talk of top 25 ranking right now. So that's the way it is going into a big game next week against Boise.
Yeah, you got to credit Hawaii and their staff for picking themselves up after giving up 600 yards plus against San Jose State in that loss, and giving it all to the Aztecs on a rainy night in Hawaii. The defense for Hawaii holds Aztecs to just 6 points on the night, and that's not going to get it done. Rainbow Warriors also did a pretty good job protecting their quarterback, Alhado, and generating those 130 total yards on the ground. You mentioned in the stats, but you can't have a game where you are only going 2 for 14 in trying to convert third downs. That's just not going to get it done. So bring on Boise State. They will be coming off a bye before coming to San Diego.
All right, let's wrap this one up. What do you say?
I say yes. Or as they say in Hawaii, aloha.